You know, what if something as simple as going to the bathroom wasn't so simple anymore? For millions of guys, that's a real frustrating part of daily life. So today, we're going to figure out why that happens. We'll follow the story of one man, and that's going to take us on a journey deep inside one of the body's most incredible systems. Ready? Let's dive in.
Okay, so let's meet Homer. He's 63, and for the most part, he's just like a lot of guys his age. He's active, loves life, but he's been dealing with this one nagging health problem. It's gotten frustrating enough that he's finally decided to schedule a pretty common surgery to fix it.
So what's actually going on with him? Well, here's the thing. It's not a problem you can see from the outside. To really get what's happening to Homer, we've got to look under the hood, so to speak. We need to explore this amazing, super complex system that's in charge of filtering all the waste out of our bodies.
And to do that, to really get to the bottom of Homer's problem, we're going to trace the exact path that fluid takes on its way out of the body. It's a surprisingly cool journey, and it tells us a ton about how we're built.
All right, first up on our tour, the urinary superhighway. Just think of it like that, a super efficient highway system. And our tour is going to start right at the beginning, at the control center that runs this whole filtration operation.
It all kicks off right here with these two amazing bean-shaped powerhouses, the kidneys. I mean, these things work around the clock, 24/7. They're basically the body's main filtration plants, pulling all the junk, like urea, out of the blood and turning it into urine.
Now let's take a closer look inside one. A kidney isn't just some lump of tissue, it is an incredible piece of biological engineering. See those structures in there? The renal pelvis and the calyxes? They basically act like a big funnel, collecting all the urine as it's being made and pointing it in the right direction for the next stop on its trip.
So how in the world do they pull off this amazing filtering job? Well, get this. Packed into each kidney are more than 1 million tiny microscopic filtering units. 1 million! And they're all working at the same time.
And here's one of those little heroes right here. It's called a nephron. This thing is the real workhorse of the kidney. Blood comes in one side, and the nephron just meticulously pulls out all the waste and extra water. Then, the clean blood goes right back into your system. It's just a ridiculously efficient and precise design.
Okay, so once the kidneys and all those little nephrons have done their job, where does the urine go? It follows a really simple 4-step path. It starts in the kidneys, travels down some tubes called the ureters, hangs out for a bit in the bladder, and then finally it exits through the urethra.
And this gives you a great bird's-eye view of that whole pathway. You can see it clear as day. The two ureters are just like pipelines, right? They connect the kidneys up top to the bladder down below, which is basically just the main storage tank.
All right, so we've seen the superhighway. Now we need to find the traffic jam. And Homer's problem, it's happening right near the very end of this whole trip.
So here we are at the bladder. It's this muscular, stretchy bag. And right below it, you see that? That's the prostate gland. And its location, where it's sitting, that is everything when it comes to understanding Homer's problem.
The official medical name for what Homer has is bladder outlet obstruction. And honestly, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. There's a blockage, an obstruction, right at the outlet of the bladder, which makes it super hard for it to empty.
And this is why. This is the root of the problem. That final exit tube, the urethra, it doesn't go around the prostate. Nope, it goes right through the middle of it. For guys, the prostate gland literally wraps around the urethra, kind of like a donut.
This shows it perfectly. Look on the left. With a normal prostate, the urethra has plenty of space, no problem. But now look at the right. This is what can happen as guys, like Homer, get older. The prostate gets bigger, and it starts to squeeze that urethra. It's exactly like putting a clamp on a garden hose. That is the bottleneck.
So if the problem is a bottleneck, what's the solution? Well, you've got to clear the way. And that's exactly what Homer's surgery is designed to do. It's a procedure called a TURP.
But how do you even get to a blockage that's buried so deep inside the body? You don't want to make huge cuts, right? The way they do it is actually pretty clever.
Instead of cutting from the outside, surgeons just use the body's own plumbing. They go right in through the urethra. Then, with these special tools, they can carefully trim away that extra prostate tissue from the inside out. It's kind of like they're hollowing it out, just enough to open that channel back up and get things flowing freely again.
Okay, so fixing the plumbing problem is great. But for a patient like Homer, once the technical stuff is sorted out, there are usually some other, more personal questions that come up.
And this is a big one. It's a super common and totally valid concern. The source material we're looking at even calls it out directly because, it's not just about fixing the flow, it's about your whole quality of life and knowing what to expect when it's all done.
Really, the most important thing here is just to be informed. That prostate is sitting at a really busy intersection, anatomically speaking. So surgery there can sometimes have side effects. For instance, the ejaculatory ducts also run right through the prostate. So sometimes, after this surgery, guys can experience something called retrograde ejaculation. That just means that during orgasm, semen goes backward into the bladder instead of forward. Now, it's not harmful, but it's definitely a change. And that's exactly why it's so important to have a really open, detailed chat with your surgeon before the procedure, so you know about all the possible outcomes.
So Homer's story has basically given us this amazing map of one of the body's hidden highways. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, right now, as you're just sitting there, what other incredible, mind-bogglingly complex systems are humming along inside of you, just quietly keeping the whole show on the road?